Guten Tag, Klasse. I wanted to go over something with you because I've noticed that when you folks are turning in your writing assignments, I noticed that some of your sentences are kind of mixed up a little bit. And I've come up with this really easy way to kind of make sure that whatever sentence that you're writing is always going to be in the right order. And I call this method here we go. I call it the STOMP method. Okay. And what I mean by STOMP, STOMP, STOMP. All right. And each one of these letters actually stands for something. And these are all, um, and this is the order of words in a sentence. So you start off with the subject of the sentence. Then the next thing that happens is the time expression. And then what happens is you put the objects in. Okay? And then you get the manner. What the manner is are the adverbs, like quickly, uh, stuff like that. Quickly, wonderfully, stuff like that. And then the last is the place. Okay? Now, some of you might be saying, well, wait a minute, Herr Gardner, there's no verb here. Correct. There is no verb, but you have to decide where the verb goes. Okay? Now, the verb depends if it's a statement, if you're stating something, the verb goes here. Okay? That's where the verb goes. But if it's a question, the verb goes here. All right? So when I teach the STOMP method, what I do is this is how I do it. I put a question mark, S, then a period, TOMP. Okay? And what this means is that if you're doing a question, the verb goes there. If you're doing a statement, the verb goes there. Okay? So let's do an example. The boy feeds the dog. Okay? So the boy, der Junge, feeds is the verb here. So it would be füttert den Hund. Okay? Den Hund. Okay. So this right here, der Junge, is the subject. Okay? So that is the subject. This is your verb. So this is this period right here. And then den Hund, this is the object. So the boy is feeding the dog. All right? You're not going to always use the manner. You're not always going to use the place. You're always not going to use the time. But if we did put the time in here, let's do it this way. Der Junge füttert. So let's say he did it yesterday. Gestern den Hund. Der Junge füttert gestern den Hund. Okay? And then if we want to say where it happened, we'd say in der Garage. Okay, in the garage. In der Garage. Der Junge füttert gestern den Hund in der Garage. Okay? If he wants to do it quickly, where do you think we would put it? Well, it comes after the object. So there's the object. So he would do it schnell. Der Junge füttert gestern den Hund schnell in der Garage. Okay? So that's how you do that. How do we make this a question? Well, we take füttert out here, and then we put it at the beginning. Turning, of course, this into the Füttert der Junge gestern den Hund schnell in der Garage? Question mark. Okay. See how that works? So this method will work 100% of the time. It will always work. Are there exceptions to this? Of course there are exceptions. Like everything else in language, everything has exceptions. But if you do this method, if you go the STOMP method, your sentences will always be in the correct order. So what if you wanted to change things up a little bit? Maybe you don't want to say this particular sentence in this particular way, and you want to emphasize something. Perhaps maybe you want to emphasize that he did it yesterday. So you're going to start the sentence with the word gestern. So yesterday. Okay, yesterday he did this. So you would start with gestern, and now the verb comes. Füttert, der Junge, and then everything else stays in the same order. Okay, everything else stays in. Gestern füttert der Junge den Hund schnell in der Garage. Okay, so this is the whole sentence here. It works fine, but it's like you took the time expression and you just did this. You just took that, and I can do this, Herr Gardner. You're amazing. You can do this. Here, let's just do that. It's like you just did that. And the verb in a subject always has to come in the second position there. So the time and then the verb happens right there. Okay, that's the way that works. Always, always, always. Okay. So let's try something else. Let's take gestern and let's put this this whole business back together again in the right order. There we go. And the Füttert goes here. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's use the same sentence and let's emphasize something else. Let's say that we want to say in der Garage. We're doing the place first, okay? This is going to be a statement. So I'm going to take in der Garage, stick it at the beginning. Okay. In der Garage. Let's make this small. Okay. So where does the verb go? Did you say here? Because that is where it goes. Remember, the verb in a statement goes in the second position. The verb, the verb in a statement goes in the second position. See how that works? Verb goes in the second position. So, in der Garage füttert der Junge. We don't need the füttert there anymore. Gestern den Hund schnell. Okay, schnell is in the wrong place right now. Okay, so schnell needs to move. That's the manner. Okay. In der Garage füttert der Junge gestern den Hund schnell. Okay, schnell goes. Yeah, that's right. Oops. Der Garage. Oh no. Schnell in der Garage. That lovely noise was my dryer going off. So in der Garage füttert der Junge schnell den Hund. Okay. We don't need to in the garage twice, do we? There we go. Sorry. So Hopefully that makes a little bit more sense. Remember, stomp works. So if you wanted to emphasize any of these things, you could put the P, you could put the place at the beginning, you could put the manner in the beginning, whatever. And whatever you put in the beginning, everything else stays in the same order. Okay? Everything else stays in the same order. Just that one thing gets moved to the front. Okay? Hopefully that will help you create your sentences in the right order, making sure your words are in the right order. Okay? Auf Wiedersehen.